Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you are watching. This is Mappa. I'm Stel, Thassos here with me, and we'd just like to say thank you to our sponsor, Food from Cyprus. Don't forget to use the discount code NCN12 for your 12% discount for everything on their website. Christmas is coming. You might need your trahana. Get it from foodfromcyprus.com. Thasui.
Yes.
How is
Hello.
one?
Hello. I'm in my pajamas. So
In your pajamas in London.
Yeah. We literally like 10 miles apart from each other.
Bet you're happy to be here.
Oh
so happy
yeah,
to be here.
bloody love it over here, man. It's great.
Come on, let's get it right. It is probably one of the worst cities you've ever been to. Let's get it right.
Yeah. All right, I'll put it up there.
Yeah.
Or down there, whichever way you want to look at it.
It's down. It's down. And DOXA, man, well, listen, it's a late one for us tonight. We're going to try and keep it as short as possible. So let's go straight into the results, the fixtures, whatever you want to call it. And the first game is KARMIOTISSA 1, ARIS 1, goals from Katsandonis and Katsivasilis, 1 apiece. No real winners in this one. No one wins. Everyone's happy, I guess.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to dress it up as best as I possibly can. KARMIOTISSA have only got 1 win this season. This was their 4th draw. They're on 7 points. ARIS, all right. They're pretty safe at the moment, but I guess ARIS would have taken a draw if you'd have told them before the game. So,
yeah. I mean, Haji Vasily scored a good goal as well for ARIS. It's a good turn as well because, like I said before, I listened to the commentary, and while he was celebrating the goal, he ran towards a pretty empty away stand, but apparently ARIS took 40 people to backfield. So,
more than DOXA ever would.
Yeah, exactly. So, come on, ARIS. But yeah, KARMIOTISSA have you said 7 points. 5 of them have been on the Haralambos. So, last 3 games, he hasn't lost the last 3 games, has he?
Okay.
Bearing in mind, the last 2 have been ARIS and who was the other draw against? DOXA. So
DOXA,
not great, but 4-1 dicking of ARIS will get you some plaudits, won't it?
Yeah. And that'll be his claim to fame. That'll be his claim to fame. There you go. Right, on to the next young man, and it turned out to be a very, very entertaining game. It was ETHNIKOS 2, APOLLON 2. Kremenchik gave APOLLON the lead before Cabrera made it 1 apiece. Then Lipski made it 2-1 before Kremenchik grabbed an equalizer right at the death. However, he almost grabbed the winner in stoppage time, but it ended in a draw, and it also meant the end of MILOJEVIC as head coach of APOLLON. He didn't really last long, did he? Blimey.
No, 11 games, I think they said.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you got to be, if you're APOLLON, you've got to be really disappointed with that result. You should be aiming to beat AHNA. Kremenchik, I don't know, it came from nowhere. He really hasn't done anything this season except for this game. Scored very early, scored very late. Both of AHNA's goals are going to be very disappointing for the APOLLON defense as well. And Leeuwenberg in particular in goal, he should be doing a lot better with the 2 shots he lets in, I think. But yeah, the second AHNA goal, I think there's a scuffed shot, and then the first person to react to it is Drazic for AHNA instead of the APOLLON defender that's right in front of him. But it's what we've been saying all season about APOLLON's defense. It's not great.
About 4 weeks ago, we were saying that they'd only conceded like 7 goals or something like that. And now they've conceded almost as many goals as OMONOIA, which says a lot, really, because, you know, OMONOIA concede goals. I mean, they've conceded as many as ARIS as well. ARIS have conceded 12.
Yeah. And, you know, Milojevic, one of his first things is sorting out a defence of the team, as proven with APOEL last season. But yeah, strange times at APOLLON.
So what are we talking about now? 5 losses and a draw in the last 6 games?
Is it? I thought it was 4 losses and a draw. Is it 5 losses?
I don't know. Is it 5? Is it 4? 4 and a draw? No, in the last 6 though. In the last 6. I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, there was definitely 4 losses in a row anyway.
There you go.
And then they got the draw with AFNA.
It gives me the perfect excuse to bring up this screen again.
Look at that. That's a conga line, isn't it?
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's like that. What's it called in the United States? Yeah, we got the 4 presidents. What are they called? Oh no, it's gone. It's gone out of my head. Mount Rushmore. That's what it is. Yeah. The Mount Rushmore of head coaches. Well, look, we're down to the count is 10 managerial changes in Cyprus so far. Last season was 28, I think, something like that. So we're still a long way away. But then again, KARMIOTISSA still can sack coaches. DOXA can still sack coaches. So you never know. You never know.
You never know. But yeah.
No.
I mean, the way Milojevic's dismissal / resignation happened was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because it came out.
Didn't he offer to resign? And Gizzi said no, stay, and then a few days later he's gone.
Yeah. So in essence, Milojevic handed in his resignation to the APOLLON board. Gizzi flipped it around on him, rejected the resignation, and promised him funds to spend on transfers in January to help rectify what was going on. Milojevic took training on Monday morning, and he told the team what had gone on, but that he was reconsidering his decision based on what was promised in this meeting that he had with Gizzi. However, late on Tuesday night, APOLLON sent out a confirmation that they had accepted Milojevic's resignation and that Angelos Tsolakis and Andrei Shembre will take over first team affairs until a permanent head coach is appointed. So, who are Tsolakis and Shembre? So, OMONOIA fans know who Shembre is. He played for OMONOIA a few times, as well as APOLLON. Tsolakis plays.
Hang about, and Skembri is also in Pirlo's book.
Who's Pirlo?
The midfielder, Andrea Pirlo, the Italian.
Sorry, Pirlo. Sorry, you said it with a Greek accent. I was like, who's Pirlo?
I'm trying to cater to them. I'm trying to cater to them. For crying out loud.
Who's Pirlo?
Pirlo,
yeah.
Pirlo, yeah. So he's in his book because, okay, I'll say it for the English. Pirlo, he said that Skembri was a tough tackling player. And Skembri was a striker. He must have smashed him a few times from deep, I tell you. He faced him for Italy against Malta and Skembri smashed him. He's like, I'm going to write about him now. Who's your toughest opponent? Skembri.
Yeah, Imagine all those players that Pirlo has played with and against. But yeah, so their CV is a bit short, really. Tsolakis was APOLLON women's team manager for a year in 2013-14. And Shembre was APOLLON's under-15s manager for a year, 2021, and then moved to be the director of football at the club. So it's fine. They're only temporary. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be like a Magridis situation where they bring him in permanently, inverted commas. But yeah, Now, in the statement that Apollon put out, they also put out Milojevic's statement as part of it. So I can read through the whole thing, but it's lots of pleasantries. Yeah, it's lots of pleasantries and the standard like Apollon's fans are the best and blah 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 blah, all that business. But the important bit is that therefore I had no choice but to take my fair share of responsibility. That is how I learned throughout my professional career to deal with difficult situations with decency and dignity. So, with a comment like that, do you think that he agreed to leave for no compensation? Because if you're claiming responsibility and leaving with your head held high with decency and dignity, in theory, you're gonna say, it's okay, it's my fault, I'm leaving, keep your money, right?
No chance. No chance.
Because Milojevic and his team were like one of the highest paid coaching teams in Ypres.
Yeah.
So
doesn't mean he didn't get anything. I'm pretty sure he got something. Okay, obviously it wasn't the full whack of his contract, but it's a mutual termination. So they would have agreed a severance. There's no way, or at least he would have got paid up until the end of the month, and then they're going to discuss, because these things happen. They probably paid him to the end of the month, and then they say, well, let's have a conversation in the next couple of weeks so we can figure everything out. So he's getting something. He's getting something. So I don't buy that he's not getting anything. Sorry.
Okay, no, fine. Now there's also rumors as well of him taking over at Red Star Belgrade. Is that what I saw?
Again?
Okay. Yeah, I saw that coming up on the news feeds. Gergida and Sport FM were both reporting on it. But yeah, so 2 or 3 names have already been added to the conversation about him being replaced. One of them is Jose Luis Oltra, because going after a recently sacked Ajax manager has worked well for them previously. And this other one, I think we had a look at him. We had a look at him just before we started recording. What's his name? Marcus. This German guy, Marcus Vincel. So there's a German coach who's managed mostly in the lower reaches of the Bundesliga and in the Bundesliga 2, mostly at FC Augsburg. There's not much of note on there though, on his CV that I've seen. His last job was at Nuremberg for 4 months. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. He had 2 spells at Augsburg. They survived relegation in one of his first seasons, I think. I don't know. Apparently, 154 games in charge between 2012 and 2016. He's apparently the club's most successful coach. Got them to the Europa League. Beat Bayern Munich under Pep Guardiola. Beat Jurgen Klopp. So these are the things that we're going to hear. But can he make Ekbola head the ball? Can he, stop these players picking up needless yellow cards left, right, and centre?
Can he do it on a cold Sunday night in Beristerona?
Ooh. It's a tough one. It's a tough job. It's a very, very tough job. In fact, to be honest, if you want to talk about with the resources that they have, it's probably one of the toughest jobs in the league. And I say this because, as we said at the start of the season, when we had Double A on, they basically got a brand new squad. And obviously, Bogdan struggled. Milojevic has struggled. This German guy's going to come in, and I'm sure he's going to have finances or some finances in January. But by that time, it's going to be too little too late at this rate anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought someone like Marquez was going to be the top goal scorer this season, and he can't get the ball at all in the box. Can't get it at all.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I want to be like, oh, I had my crystal ball. I knew exactly what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. But even then, I still was like, when you said it, I was like, you sure? You sure? But it's not to do with him, though, is it? It's more to do with deliveries to him.
Yeah.
They weren't getting the ball to him for him to do what he can do.
Well, both the goals of the weekend were crosses in the box from out wide.
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Yes, let's go.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, next game. ANORTHOSIS 0, AEK 0. 2 red cards in the opening 10 minutes. One for Chico Bantha for a right hook.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Tomovic for what looked like a little bit of a, I don't know, it looked like he kissed his nose, really, but Chico Bantha went down. And what I loved most about this was that Bantha knew he was getting sent off. And the moment Tomovic went face-to-face with him, he dropped to the ground and stayed down, thinking that, yeah, if I stay down, I'm not going to get sent off. Well,
yeah,
you did, mate, and you kind of fucked up because ANORTHOSIS are now in big, big trouble. We spoke about the injuries last week. Bantha now being suspended. They struggled against AEK. I watched most of that game. To be honest, the most entertaining part was not only the sendings off, but the smoke bombs that were launched onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Up until the red cards, it was a real end-to-end game, and there weren't many opportunities afterwards. But when you look at the highlights, okay, obviously I didn't show them because there wasn't much happening. I still think AEK would have felt a little bit hard done by it. They didn't come away with the points because they had the better opportunities. Nothing clear-cut, but if they had a little bit of ruthlessness in front of goal, hey, if they had someone like, I don't know, Rafa Lopez able to get on the end of crosses, they might have been able to get something. But anyway, it is what it is. Your thoughts on the Reds, my friend?
There's not many thoughts, is there? They're Reds. You know, you don't punch a guy in the face and expect to get away with it, and you don't butt somebody and expect to get away with it either. Chico Banza has that way of getting under a position player's skin, doesn't he? Because it's not the first time he's had an opposition player react to him like that just this season.
He's like a jumbo version of Balotelli, isn't he? If you want it, AliExpress Balotelli.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, with them bloody shoes as well. Those shoes give me nightmares. They still give me nightmares, those shoes.
Oh, blimey. So, I mean, his reaction. The thing is, it just seemed that, as I said, up until, it was only 10 minutes, but him against Dongi was really good. There was a really good battle, pace for pace, strength for strength. One had skill, one was reading it, and the fullback was frustrating him. And obviously there, that bit where he's actually caught him with that left, sorry. I'm thinking, mate, you're absolutely fucking bonkers. You've shot your team in the foot. You've let your teammates down.
Yeah.
So, that could really come back to haunt ANORTHOSIS because, as we mentioned, the injuries, suspensions, they're all mounting up. And their squad is running thinner and thinner.
Yeah, Wagye is injured as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
So what? Kiko's going to be right back and Correa left back?
Oh my God. Okay.
Flipping hell.
Can you imagine? Yeah, and Waris up front. Yeah, no, they're not having a good time of it at the moment. It's
well, I could turning things around a little bit now, aren't they?
Yeah, as well. Yeah, so good result for them. Good result for them. A draw, away from home.
Clean sheet.
Yeah, Ben Shimon will take that and run, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, it's 2 wins in 3 since he was announced. I know he wasn't head coach when they beat APOLLON, but since Oltra's gone, that's 2 wins and a draw. It's kick-started their season. But see, this is the thing. I don't want to be that guy to turn around and say, well, maybe they've turned the corner, because you know what happens in Cyprus. You know what's going to happen. Come January, there's going to be another managerial change, and that club is going to have a resurgence. And you're thinking, is everything going to be all right there? Whatever. And then recycle happens to another club or whatever. So I'm not saying anything about AEK. They're top 6 at the moment. If you'd have said 4 weeks ago when Oltra left, was kicked out the door, you'd be in the top 6 in a couple of weeks. The fans would have been like, hey, you're taking the fucking piss. But hey, they're here.
They are. But I think it's more to do with the people below them not doing as well. Because I mean, there's still, even though they drew 0-0 with ANORTHOSIS, the gap between 5th and 6th is quite big for the stage of the season we're at.
Yeah.
So, interesting times.
There you go.
Now,
okay.
Yeah, there was some trouble after the game. So you talked about the flares. No, not about the flares. Sorry, the smoke bombs, the different colored smoke bombs. Now, at the end of the game, there was apparently some crowd trouble after the game, and the police, in their infinite wisdom, there you go, decided that it would be a good idea to shoot tear gas in an enclosed space where you also had families and young children there also trying to get out of the stadium. At the same time was the trouble going on. So Gergida posted a couple of pictures up from the trouble. I mean, there was one where there was a guy that was hit with one of the tear gas canisters, and he's got like a big cut on the back of his neck from it and things like that. And there was another one where you see kind of the tear gas rise up into the darkened night sky as it escapes the stadium. So you can imagine what it was like inside the ground at the time when they let these smoke bombs off. So obviously, ANORTHOSIS released a statement which included calls for the government ministry to get involved, and a letter is being prepared along with audio-visual evidence of the police officers' malpractice. So I don't know what the aim is here. Are they going to get specific police officers in trouble? I don't think anything's going to happen from it. It's just going to get put on a big pile of letters that the police will get, and then they'll just go, oh, that's the in tray. Oh, better put that in the out tray. There you go. It's been dealt with.
Yeah, pretty standard. But there's something I'd like to add, which I forgot to mention. The pettiness of AEK supporters, right? I don't know if you saw this behind the goal. Look at that! Look at that flag. One town, one team. That is petty. That is so petty. It's unbelievable. But then again, they did have trouble with Salamina last season, didn't they? A couple of times.
Yeah.
And they're based in the same city, really, aren't they? The stadium.
Yeah, let's say at the moment, temporarily.
Yeah. So, I guess it's their version of postcode wars. There you go. Also, before I forget, I have to give a quick mention to our friend Mr. Connor Higuita, who visited Cyprus. Let me just come out of the way. Visited Cyprus 4 games in 4 days. I forget which games he did. He did ARIS. Let's go to his profile. Let's big him up. He's got 34 followers. Let's get him up, man. So he's got Salamina Buffo. He did ANORTHOSIS. Look at that. He's got his own photographs. Bravo, look at that.
Beautiful.
He was with the Machides. Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at them climbing on the things. Animals. And which other game did he do? ANORTHOSIS? Salamina? What other game did you do there, Connor? Here we go. Othello. You did Othello Money as well. Okay. Ground hopping. Love it. Come on now.
There you
Come
go.
on. All right.
Beautiful.
Bravo, Connor. Bravo, Sure.
If only we could do that when we go over.
Yeah. If only. Well, you could. I couldn't.
Well, I did it, didn't I? I went to one game. Bloody left early as well, didn't I? So.
Your fault. Your fault. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move it on. Come on, next game. Othello 1, OMONOIA 2. Popescu gave Othello the lead, as you quite rightly predicted. Gustolo equalised, celebrated by signing a contract extension to 2027. And then everyone's favourite aluminium man, Alium, made it 2-1 to OMONOIA. And Sofroni at the end of the game made a little bit of a boo-boo. I don't know if you know what he said.
No, I missed this. What
During
happened?
his press conference, he said, "We have now finished the first half of the season. We have ended the first half of the season top of the league," not remembering that APOEL still had a game to play and I had a game to play.
Yeah.
And, we're not top of the league.
No.
Oh, and Buffo.
And Buffo as well,
So,
yeah.
Not my head coach.
I mention it all the time. I was on Adijaki Salmon, obviously. If people were watching that earlier in the week, it got released. But I mentioned that every time we interview a player and it says their favorite coach was Sofroni, you're like, why? I don't get it. Why?
And every time he does something or says something or OMONOIA lose, I'm like, Cabby Lame.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. But listen, it's a bit of a squeeze to win. A lot of players underperformed. We've said it before. For some reason, there's a mentality issue with OMONOIA players playing lower level skilled teams. I don't know what the mentality issue is. But yeah, it's something that needs to be corrected. It doesn't matter so much, obviously, in the second part of the season where, you've got the top 6, because in theory, all the top 6 are top-class teams. But you've got to be careful not to trip up against the bottom 8 teams. Otherwise, you might not even get into the top 6. So, OMONOIA, I've got to be very careful. For
sure. But look, a win is a win.
Today
I found out that Giriagidi is injured, the goalkeeper. Fabi is injured now. So with Banai on loan at ETHNIKOS, we've only got Uzoho. And Uzoho's going international duty. So technically we've got no goalkeepers. No goalkeepers. Lovely. Matthews is injured. Gaguli is injured. And do you know what? It goes back to what I was saying. I can't remember what I was telling you or whether I was saying it on No Choftes. During Sofroni's time at APOEL, you guys were getting injury after injury after injury. And I didn't know if it was muscular. I didn't know. But now I'm seeing these things happening with OMONOIA. So I'm guessing it's either or the intensity during games and the intensity during training that are causing these injuries. I'm telling you, there's a correlation here. There's a correlation.
Yeah. So you think it's just the different intensity levels? So relaxed training and then telling them to blast themselves apart during the game.
No, I think he batters them in training as well.
Oh right, okay. You think right?
Yeah, I think he is anyway. Listen, it can't be a coincidence. It can't be. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to give Baradagi a call. Oh,
what happened? I don't know.
I don't know. Where are you? Come back.
Yeah, we're going back. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
Don't know. What are you doing?
Okay. All right.
We good? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Good?
Yeah.
We leave this in, no edit, okay?
No edit. No edit.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes, let's go.
Okie dokie. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the next game is PAFOS beating Salamina by 2-0. Tankovic and Jairo, the match winners, and Gerard Houllier Mark II FC get a very, very good victory. Happy days for them. Back in contention for the title challenge.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Valakari also smashed the ball against the crossbar again as well.
Yes.
He seems to have a habit of doing that at the moment. But yeah, PAFOS, I was expecting the game to be a bit closer between the two teams. Obviously, I've been picking up now Salamina. Salamina are great. Really, watch out for them. I think they're really. I think they're really missing Melissas in goal. Yeah. Quizás is not the guy. He's not the guy. And also they had a different central defender on that Celea.
Yes.
And he was, and the second goal.
For the second one, yeah.
Yeah, that miss kick is got to be. He's going to be replaying that in his mind for a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that drains the confidence out of a player. Not good.
No, not great. By the way, you mentioned Quizás, the goalkeeper. You know when you see on social media these footballer lookalikes, and they look nothing like their lookalike.
Okay.
Think of Quizás, and I think of Buffon.
I'm laughing because I can see it. That's really good.
It is. Don't worry. Yeah, he's got a job. He's got a job now. When he retires, he's got a job. We need a talent agent, and he's there. He's like with that dodgy Ronaldinho.
He also needs to dye his hair.
Yes, correct. But you can arrange that.
He's got that salt and pepper look going on now, hasn't he? Mostly pepper, but he's
very true. Very true. By the way, what about PAFOS? Because again, they're going under the radar now. Not our radar, clearly, but they're level points with ARIS and APOEL. They've got a better goal difference than ARIS and APOEL. And again, these games, they're winning ugly. They're winning them ugly. I don't really think that's a problem. Don't get me wrong. I know you mentioned on the show the other day that they struggle against the top 6 or the derby games and all that, but I think that only matters most when you get into the playoffs. Up until then, when you're demolishing the teams that are below you, like your KARMIOTISSA. In fact, KARMIOTISSA they got at the weekend, and we know that that's going to be a fucking cricket score. Just saying.
Yeah.
So okay, we won't go into the reasons why I think it's going to be a cricket score.
Oh, it's just because of the different skill levels between the teams, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But again, I go back to what happened last season with PAFOS. They went on this. They had really good form in the first part of the season, and they were playing really well. Even when Jairo got injured, they were getting results. And then they got into the playoffs, and it just fell off for them, didn't it? That's why you had Michel Salgado managing the last few games of the season. So that's going to be the big test for them. But at the moment, they're doing very, very well.
Yeah, and that's without Davor. who's injured.
Yeah,
And that's
Davos gone back to his parent club now because it's an ACL injury, so he's not coming back for the season.
Yeah. So let's see how the season pans out for them. Speaking of a club that's very, very interesting to everyone at the moment for various reasons, and that's APOEL, who absolutely battered DOXA. DOXA winless, 1 point. Light work. Crespo, Villafañez, Tufodonis, and Gvilitaya in injury time. 5-0 for APOEL. Emphatic, convincing, but no surprise. Let's get it right. There's a lot to talk about with APOEL, Thassos, but let's talk about this game first because it was a demolition. I don't think anyone is surprised at the scoreline and the manner in which you guys won the game.
Yeah, I mean, Domane as well, he hit the post while it was still 1-0. It was 1-0 for a long period of the game. I think Villafañez's goal was the second goal was in the 57th minute, something like that. And then substitutions happen. With that, APOEL didn't look back. Substitutions worked out fantastically. For me, the important thing in this game was Donny's coming back. So he came on, he scored 2 goals, and it's a couple of pretty good goals as well. Good team movement, good speed from him as well to get to some of the through passes that were coming through to him. So I said at the beginning of the season when we signed him, if you can get him fit and you can keep him fit, he's a player who could win you a title. Now, we've done the first part of it. Now is to make sure he stays fit. And as shown last season with APOEL when he was on loan, as shown on a lot of the previous seasons he's been at, that's the difficult bit because he's been out with this latest injury. He's been out since I think when he scored against Agritas. So he scored the goal and then he kind of limped off because the Agritas defender stood on his ankle while he was running or sprinting forward.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that and we were like, how's that not a pen? But obviously he scored.
He scored. Yeah. But so he's been out for a long time with that injury. So hopefully he's been through the recovery period without too much stress. Comes back and fires APOEL on.
Yeah. The thing is, what you don't want right now is obviously the Christmas break. We've got 2 games before the break now.
Yeah,
I think it's 2 games. Or is it 3?
No, it's
3.
3.
Yeah, the 10th, the 16th, and the 23rd.
Yeah.
So it's 3 games before the Christmas break. And if he plays in those 3 games, then you'd assume that he'd be at peak fitness, match sharpness anyway. And then you've got 2 weeks break. And that's not great. That obviously is still going to be training, but once you've got that momentum and you're playing games and you're doing well, you don't want to stop playing. And so I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. But again, the issue there is that keep him fresh, keep him fit. So if he gets to the Christmas break without any additional injuries, great. Then he's got 2 weeks rest, and then you can use him as an impact sub for the first couple of weeks back before bringing him into the first team again. And again, there's no rush at the moment for him because of just it's a team game, isn't it, at the moment for APOEL? The team's performing well as a unit. It's doing fine. Just a couple more comments on the game. Villafañez's free kick, Szyszkowski should be doing a lot better. 1, with his setup, and 2, with saving the shot. It wasn't that good of a free kick, but it goes in. I'm not going to complain about it. Gvildaya scores the 5th goal. We keep saying, well, this might mean he turns a corner. He's going to start getting goals, and every time this is big old dry period, and then he scores again. But anyway, let's see. Maybe this time he turns a corner and starts getting some goals. Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what you'd hope, but you've got Crespo out, suspended at the weekend.
Yep.
I don't know what's happening with his fitness situation. Apparently he's carrying a knock. I don't know. I'm not going to really delve into that because it's all hearsay at the moment. But there's something else that happened at your club the past few days, which, you mentioned it being a team effort, and it seems to be a team effort involving the supporters to try and raise 2 million at the club. I mean, it was a ballsy announcement by Bedridi. We spoke about him last week, and I joked that it's cap in hand kind of situation, but a lot of fans have put their hands in their pockets.
Yeah.
But is this sustainable? And how long before the next press conference announcing more funding assistance? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's kind of my thinking behind it, is that financial mismanagement of the club, as long as Petridis is in charge, is going to continue. It's very disappointing for the club to have the need to do this in the first place. Not great. It's not great. I mean, personally,
people are going to ask what's happened. So do you want to explain?
Sorry. Yes. So in essence, like we said, during their press conference on, it was Monday, right? Is that right? Monday, yeah. Petridis, his lackeys on the board, all lined up in a row, along with the president of the Sports Association for APOEL, to give a press conference on the 2 different types of initiatives that they're putting in place to help finance the club till the end of the season. So like you said, they're trying to raise 2 million euros. And this is twofold. So the first thing that they're doing is they're targeting at least 500 fans to provide, if they can, 1,000 euros a month for 3 months to help cover costs. So if you do the if you do the equation lady mean, and you do your equations, that ends up being 1.5 million euros. Now, as well, apparently during the press conference, they said that they know which fans to target to get those 500 fans to give, in essence, 3 grand. So they're opening those conversations up to those specific fans for now. Now, the second scheme that they've announced is a call to every APOEL fan, asking for them to pay at least 20 euros plus €1 processing fee to attend a virtual match where they're looking to exceed the record attendance for a match in Cyprus, with at least 25,000 tickets to be sold. So altogether, this equates to about 2 million euros to help pay the salaries of the players.
So sorry to cut you off there. So this virtual match, I assume it's just a pay-per-view online.
No. There's no match.
There's no match.
Yeah, there's no match. It's just that you're in essence buying a ticket, which is why 20 euros. But there's no match in question. It's a virtual match in the fact that it doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just a way of them dressing up to say, is a pot, put 20 euros in. That's effectively what it is.
I mean, personally, I think it's a bit of a tax dodge as well. because if it's a gift, you pay extra tax on a gift rather than if you're selling something that somebody's buying.
Yeah. Well, with the 500 that they targeted, according to 24 Sports this morning, 100 people have already taken them up on that. So they've made about 300 grand on that already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's another 30,000 euros raised on the virtual ones,
on the virtual ticket. Yeah.
So it's 330 grand. So about how long? The seventh of the way to the target?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There or thereabouts. Let's say sixth for argument's sake. Now, when are they looking to raise this money by?
By the end of the year.
3 weeks.
31st of December, yeah. So,
and they've chosen to do this over Christmas.
Yeah, so if... Yeah. Now...
That's ballsy. I'll give it to them. That's ballsy.
Now, I've said my piece on this already plenty of times on the fact that I don't think we should be handing Petridis any more money to do what he keeps doing. But I also respect the fans that love the club that much that they're willing to put this money down to try and keep the club afloat. A lot of people have responded to me on Twitter to exclaim, well, one, to say to me that all right, we've had enough of you complaining about the situation, so that's fine. But secondly, to kind of say, yeah, we don't care that we're giving the 20 euros for nothing. We're giving the 20 euros for nothing to save our club. It's our club. We have to look after it. If we don't look after it, no one will, which I also agree with. And for sure, Petridis isn't looking after the club, so it's up to the fans to do it, right? Now, I think there's some fans that are overdoing it a little bit. I think I posted a picture in the doc of someone in the Orange Madness Facebook group who's gone and bought 5 of these virtual tickets. So, yeah, again, I can only commend these people for the love of the club, but I can't help but feel with Petridis holding the purse strings that the money that's being raised is going to go to waste.
Well, put it this way, this 2 million isn't going towards the debt, though, is it?
No, it's going
towards wages, right?
Yep, exactly.
So to pay off wages and also players that are also owed money and staff that are also owed money. So nothing to do with the debt itself.
Correct.
Right. Now, I had a conversation with some OMONOIA fans, a voice note conversation the other day. And it actually wasn't one of those, ha, 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 this is funny. It's more like, what the fuck is actually going on? Because we've seen our club go through something like this. But my well, I wouldn't say concern because I don't support your club, but as someone sitting on the fence here without a dog in the fight, for example, my concern would be the past 3 years, I'm pretty certain the number of press conferences this club has had to discuss their finances, the tally must be up to 6 or 7 now. I could be mistaken. If I might be exaggerating, it might be 5. But even still, if this was any club in the world, regardless of how successful they are, for them to have at least 5 press conferences to discuss finances, it's actually more serious what people actually understand the situation to be.
It's us and Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I've pointed out previously how serious the situation is with not just the debts, but the negative liabilities that are there as well. So there's a lot of financial mismanagement happening at the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to continue. I mean, there's things, for instance, that the club could do which would reduce the burden of the spending that they're having to put out. For instance, if you play at least 2 Cypriots in your first 11, then you won't have to pay the fine of not playing 2 Cypriots in your first 11. For instance, that's your first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, instead of bringing in players like Fetfatzidis, Wilson, players like this, why who demand big wages, why you don't keep players like Diawara or the Dutch player who was at Olympiacos last season, the defender.
Oh, Esselink.
Yeah, or Esselink, for instance. Why you can't keep these players who probably ask for less money? It's mind-boggling. But
well, there was also something else. I mean, we noticed this last week. I think it might have been Tuesday. Did a bit of Googling and found this advert for First Division professional club in Cyprus being up for sale. And obviously there are people that were replying to us on Twitter saying, oh, it's this club, it's that. Most people were saying it's APOEL. And then during that very press conference about the announcement with the cap in hand stuff, Bedridis was saying, yeah, that's us. He was a little bit pissed off about people knowing, even though this information is not anything, what's the word? It's not confidential. There are actually 2 brokers' websites that have this advert up. So it's not as if but maybe it's because he didn't want the Cypriot press to write about it, but they did. So he's admitted that this is APOEL that's for sale. And then he said they're working alongside an American and a Canadian firm along those lines to look for investors in those countries. Now, I will tell. I mean, look, I don't know if I've told you.
He also said that he went to Ukraine to speak to a potential investor as well. There,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, and look, given people that I've spoken to, clubs from Cyprus, Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey, and a few other European nations, they've kind of got red marks across their names because all these potential investors don't want to look at those regions because they don't trust how clubs are run, and they also don't trust the legal system in those nations. Now, let's say, for example, you're an investor and you invest in APOEL or you buy APOEL, whatever, and all of a sudden there's issues for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into for whatever reason. The legal system in Cyprus will not protect the investor, right? That's why a lot of these investors go to these major EU countries, not just because of the size of the leagues, but also they've got the protection from the European Union, the European Court of Law. Now, I'm not saying that the European Court of Law won't help them if they invest in a Cypriot nation, but it kind of becomes messy because of the way that the Cypriot justice system works. So they look at Scandinavia, they look at France, Belgium, etc., because it's easier to play ball out there. Now, on the flip side, I can see why Bedridi has gone to places like Ukraine or even the old Soviet states because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit. They don't. Honestly, they don't give a shit about laws and all that kind of stuff. So it ain't going to be a problem. So in all fairness, it's more than likely that if there is an investor or a takeover at the club, it's going to involve someone from Hungary or the Czech Republic or Ukraine, as you mentioned, because they're very different in their approach, but the same, if that makes sense. They're the same with one another, but they're different to the bigger ones. So there's still that saving grace that despite the 40 million debt, despite however much owed to an association, I'm going to use that term, an association, a group of individuals.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to work it out if there's someone willing to do it. But is there someone rich enough willing to do it? There's the question.
Yeah.
There's the question.
So here's something else that that came up is during the press conference, he mentioned that there's strict criteria that the investor needs to have. So, for instance, they will not accept money laundering at the club. Yeah, I also pulled that face when he said that. And then they don't care if the guy...
Little piggy flying.
they don't care if the guy whoever comes in wants to get a 20%, 50%, 100% stake. They don't care. But there's a certain strict criteria that they need to stick to for everybody to agree for them to take over APOEL.
Lip service.
Oh yeah, and he also and with that he also mentioned also the promise to build a stadium.
That is always thrown in. Always thrown in. It's always thrown in.
Well, so going back to these two schemes that they've put together. So I think it's twofold. So firstly is obviously to raise the money that's needed to get through the rest of the season. But I think it's also kind of like a proof to show, look, fans, look how loyal and dedicated the fans are to the club, that they are willing to do this. So if you're investing in this club, look at the fan base and what they go through for this club. So I think that's the second part of it as well. It's not just give me your money. I don't need to spend your money.
No, I agree, and that's exactly what we touched on last week in terms of the bigger picture. And I get it, and as I said, it's ballsy. It's a ballsy move to do what they're doing. But again, and this is I guess the pessimist or the skeptic in me. How long before it happens again?
Yeah.
How long before? This is it. This is it. And at some point, you're going to have loads of fans that, obviously want to put their hands in their pockets. But at what point is it going to be Ghani? Enough is enough. Like let's get this club sold. I don't know. It must be frustrating. It must be infuriating. And you're thinking, Christ, we're joint top of the league at the moment. And we've got all of these financial problems. We've got all these issues off the field. We've got a head coach that can't even sit on the bench. And yet we're still fighting for the title. We've got players that are unpaid, still fighting for the title. Imagine where we'd be if we had financial stability. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, all this proves is that the club has a fan base.
Yeah, a fan base.
Yeah.
They do have a fan base. Yes. They do indeed. They do indeed. Anyway, shall we move on?
We can move on.
Excellent. Let's move on to our friends at ARI, who beat AEL 4-0 in the Limassol derby. 2 for Gogorin, 1 goal for Mayambella, and Nikolic with a fantastic free kick. Hendy's red card, though, for AEL. Made the victory a little bit easier for ARI because following the red card, AEL capitulated, and that's it. Game done. Thassos.
Yeah, I do. I mean, even before the red card, ARI were in control of the game, I think, and then Hendy with that horror tackle. I mean, that's the kind of tackle that can break a leg. I'm surprised nothing more serious happened there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, again, pick of the goals is the free kick right at the end. Fantastic free kick. Gogorin is kind of finally coming into the game, Szymanski, as if they didn't have enough of a forward line. ARI also have Szymanski coming through as well.
Yeah.
There's the free kick, the goal, fantastic goal from Nikolic.
Yeah.
But yeah, Szymanski is really turning into a player for ARIS.
He's a player. He's a player.
He's only 19 as well. So
he's a player. He'll be playing in a bigger league in the next 2 to 3 years. Mark my words.
Yeah.
He is a player.
You know? I completely agree.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a routine win for ARI. And let's look, they were in control of the game even when it was 11 versus 11. But I think it just seems to me that these European games have kind of improved them. Do you know what I mean? Playing in Europe has kind of improved them. I can't think of the last time they had like a European hangover.
They lost to KARMIOTISSA, didn't they?
Yeah, was it after the European game though? Was it after
I can't remember. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But I think the squad rotation, I think Szpilewski is doing a really good job with the squad rotation. He's keeping all the players fit. What is going to be interesting, though, is AFCON's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And ARIS have got a lot of players that are going to be going to it.
How many do you think are going to go, though?
Well, once you've got South Africa in it, right? So my Mbella's going to go.
Oh, yeah. Hang about. Because I don't even know. Like I checked the other day to see which nations are in it, and I couldn't find an exact.
Was South Africa not in it?
I don't know. Did they qualify? I don't know. Let me have a look. Hang about. So
I'll do a list at some point on Twitter.
Right, I've got them. Okay, so Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, Egypt, Mozambique, Ghana, which is Boyaki, but is he fit? I'm not sure because he hasn't been featured lately. Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, so no players there. Senegal might be Sané, not sure. Gambia, they haven't got any. Cameroon, haven't got any. Guinea, do they have anyone from Guinea? I'm not sure. Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Tunisia, Namibia, Mali, South Africa are in it. They are. Algeria.
So are players like Musonda not going then?
Musonda is from Gabon. Gabon didn't qualify.
Okay.
So Musonda and Babika are staying.
Yeah. And Gomis is
from Senegal, but I don't think he plays for the national team.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I think it'd be interesting to keep an eye on it when they announce the teams.
Yeah.
Because it could be quite dangerous for ARIS. They might lose a couple of very important players.
Yeah. Yago's from Burkina Faso. They didn't qualify either. No, they did. Sorry, they're playing Mauritania. Sorry, they did. So effectively, guaranteed Mayambella and Yago gone. So that's 2. So it's not as many as we thought.
I thought, but yeah, it'd be worth keeping an eye on the call-ups.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because I can see that being an issue for ARIS.
Yeah. Well, look, let's bring up the league table anyway, so people are familiar with what's happening in Cyprus, because it is tight. It is tight at the top.
Tight.
It's tight like a tiger. So yeah, ARI, APOEL, and Buffer all joined top on 29 points. Then you've got OMONOIA on 26, ANORTHOSIS on 25. AEK makes up the final spots in the top 6 on 20, followed by APOLLON in 7th on 19, SALAMINA on 19, And then there's the gap, the 6-point gap between Salamina and ETHNIKOS. APOEL down in 10th, 13 points. Tony Koskela, not the greatest starts. 1 win, 4 losses in his opening 5 games. Ouch. ARIS are the draw specialists. They sit in 11th. Then you got OTHELLOS, KARMIOTISSA, and DOXA. The O in DOXA represents the number of wins this season.
Yep, there it is.
Down.
There it is.
Down. There you go. You do karaoke on this as well.
Well, we seem to be doing it every week.
Yes.
Seem to be popping a song in.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Right, we've done that. Any other business, young man?
There is one bit of business that let's try and not take too long on this bit of business.
Ooh.
But yeah, people will understand why I said that. So, some interesting developments in the UEFA Nations League occurred on the 2nd of December following a meeting of the UEFA Executive Committee. So now, Cyprus no longer need to play the playoffs versus Gibraltar in March. You know, the big games that Mr. Timmy was going on about this whole time. Wait for the games versus Gibraltar. Those are the important ones.
Johnny's wasn't called up for the squad because he's going to be ready for Gibraltar.
Gibraltar, those are the important games. No, so instead Gibraltar are going to play Lithuania in the only relegation playoff for Division C. So
I need to know how Gumar wrangled that.
I don't know. No idea. My question is
and then
and then exactly. Does that mean that Timmy resigns? Because remember, he said plenty of times that if it wasn't for those 2 games in March against Gibraltar, he would have already left.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did.
It's very quiet at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, look, I just think that decision, which obviously none of us anticipated, in all fairness, I was actually getting ready to try and find someone from Gibraltar to do a preview pod with us. I'm not gonna lie to you. So it took us by surprise. I think it actually infuriated us more than anything. In fact, it infuriated us more than it actually should have done. Because instead of us sitting there thinking, it's all right, we won't run the risk of being embarrassed.
Relegated.
Yeah, or relegated. But now it's like all these games that we've discussed, Spain home and away, Norway home and away, Scotland, and this guy has always brought up Gibraltar as kind of the holy grail of Cypriot football. And he's used them as an excuse or the benchmark, They're our level.
Exactly.
They're our level. And you're dropping players, you're playing players out of position, you're giving shit excuses for rubbish performances and very, very questionable team selections. And you're not facing them.
Yep.
All of that for nothing.
Yeah.
So again, this goes back to what sorry to cut you off there. This goes back to what I kept on saying during the whole time. A lot of these Cypriot players will never get the chance to play against these big Norwegian lads, the Scottish players that play in the Premier League or these big leagues, right? And this was their opportunity to show something, to show what they can do from an attacking perspective. And we saw 20 minutes of that in Spain against Spain at home when Bilal scored, right? And we're like, wow, like we can do it. And this fucker decided to play 5-4-1 with 2 central midfielders as centre-backs, got out at left-back because he was worried about fucking Gibraltar, and it hasn't happened. The guy is a fraud. He needs to fuck off. He needs to go. Piss off.
Here's my question, right? this has come out. So 2nd of December. So it's been 5 days, right? Has anybody asked Getsbayer what he thinks? Have you seen anything?
Nothing.
Have you seen anything on it?
Nothing.
Have you seen anybody going to Getsbayer? What are your thoughts on that? What are you going to do now? No.
Nothing.
So, yeah. Timmy, get the fuck out, Timmy. Come on.
It's pathetic. It actually is pathetic.
It's pathetic. Do you know why it's pathetic? Because he's got no balls. He's got no balls. But what we do know, however, is the seeding for the teams in Division C for the UEFA Nations League. So we've got 16 teams. So each pot's got 4 teams in. Cyprus is in the 3rd pot, only just with the 5th worst team from last year. But yeah, we've got Romania, Sweden, Armenia, Luxembourg. Those are the top seeds. Second seeds are Azerbaijan, Kosovo, Bulgaria, Faroe Islands. Third seeds are Skopje, Slovakia, Northern Ireland, Cyprus. Fourth seeds are Belarus, Estonia, Latvia, and either Lithuania or Gibraltar.
Oh, so we might play Estonia again.
Yeah, we might. Well, so I kind of had a look to see what would be considered an easy group, in inverted commas. So I kind of worked out that that's probably going to look something like Armenia, Faroe Islands, Cyprus, and then Lithuania or Gibraltar. I think that's probably the easiest.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say Armenia are an easy team. Armenia are a decent team, man.
They are
a decent team.
But out of the 4 top seeds, you've got Romania, Sweden, Armenia, and Luxembourg.
Yeah.
So, out of those 4 teams, Armenia is probably the easiest out of the 4.
Can you imagine what they're saying about us?
They're not even thinking about us, man.
No, man, they're not.
So, I also looked at a group that might make Getsbayer want to resign. The difficult group, right? So I think that would be Romania, Bulgaria, Cyprus, and Belarus. I think a group like that will make Getsbayer leave.
Well, did he not say before one of the games, was it after one of the games where he said, I should have quit when I saw the group stage draw for the qualifiers? Well, if he sees a group like that, then he's got to resign, no? Because that's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse.
Because in theory, these are teams that are our level.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if you remember when Gostandino came on the show from 24 Sport, and we did a match review, was it with him? I can't remember. He came on the show for something. I forget what it was. I know it's because we were talking about the British-based players, British-based Cypriots. And he wrote an article on the situation. It was 2 days ago, actually. And I'm going to read it. So that it's a long one, but I'll read it anyway. It says the stay of Cyprus in the 3rd division in the Nations League was announced by UEFA, with our representative group saving the double games with Gibraltar next month. It is true that this is something that happened a few days ago, not today, the 5th or the 12th, but the development in question remains relevant, not so much in terms of its importance, since just getting to this point is a failure, but mostly in terms of the next day. Getsbayer has been emphasizing for months that our main goal was to stay in the division and not the Euro qualifying games, correct? He told us at every opportunity that the matches with Gibraltar were very important and that the attention was focused on them. Both players are counted. One plays in Japan and the other in the US. These 2 players will be with the team with the matches with Gibraltar. He answered, among the other things, last October, there's a question why Sodirio and Johnny's were not called up against Norway. With this in mind, the Georgian coach, his colleagues, and the governing body of GOP should feel very grateful to UEFA. A torch at UEFA, one could say, based on everything we heard from the officials of our national team the previous weeks. In reality, however, regardless of our opponents, the bottom line is we hit rock bottom, and that hasn't changed. So it doesn't really matter if we were exempt from the playoff matches, as the mistakes and the omissions are still there. What we want to hear is the announcement of a long-term plan capable of taking our national team up a notch. Otherwise, we will stay at the same level and either play with Gibraltar-level teams to stay in the third division, or we will wait for favours from UEFA. Oh my God, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Bong!
At least someone's saying it. At least someone outside of us is saying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've not seen anything else. Like nothing.
I think another article's you.
Yep.
I think I have to write one before I go away on holiday next week.
I'll be waiting for that email.
I've got time.
I'll be waiting for that email.
Oh, blimey. Right, is there anything else we can discuss? Anything you want to discuss?
Well, I think Vrionides came out tonight, but I haven't had a chance to look yet. So just in case we did miss anything important in there, that's why I haven't had the chance to look at it today yet.
Yeah, let's forget that one. Yeah. I've got a little bit of news. So our friend Jimmy Mwanga scored the winner for Ormedia the other day. There you go, scored the winner. Ormedia are top of the league, third division, 3 points clear, and they're still unbeaten. 10 games into the season, unbeaten.
Yep.
There you go. Good start for Jimmy's team. Well done,
Jimmy.
How's Jason Puncheon getting on anyway? Let's have a look. Did they draw the weekend? They won 1-0 against Box. They beat Box 1-0, and they're fifth.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna hit the first half of the table, because the way the second division works is they only play each other once before the split happens.
Right.
And then the split happens between the top 8 and the bottom 8
teams. So it's 14 games.
15.
15, sorry. 15,
yeah.
You're right. 15 games.
Yeah.
So they've still got 5 games to go. They're only 4 points behind Olympiaco, who are top. Oh, listen, it's doable.
It's very, very tight. Like between first and 8th, there's 6 points. It's a very tight league this year.
Yep.
In that second division. It's going to be a spicy one.
In punch. Believe.
Exactly.
Believe. Anyway.
Believe.
Are we done, my friend? Are we complete?
We are. Look at that. Look at that.
There you go.
We're
done and done.
Look at the time on that.
No news is good news in Cyprus.
It's a breeze. Look at that.
There you go. Well, look, before we go, I'd just like to say, Ask Printing House. Give them a visit. They're in Oroglini, if I'm not mistaken. They do all your printing stuff. They print T-shirts. They print hoodies. They will print your backside if you want. They'll do anything, any kind of printing that you require. They are there for you. And they are always going to be friends of ours, guest sponsors, etc., alongside, obviously, foodfromcyprus.com. Use your discount code NCN12. And by doing so, you will be entered into a draw to win a few nights in an Airbnb in Lefkosia. There you go. Happy days.
Ready for the cup final. I'm going to keep telling you lot. It's a place to stay when the cup final happens. So
when Sofroni kind of snatches it and makes it 3 years on the bounce for OMONOIA and he papers over the cracks, and I'll be like, it's still not my coach.
He's gonna win Omonia the Champions League, and you're gonna be like,
oh no, no! It'll be a dream, but also a nightmare. I'm gonna be bombarded. You're gonna be the first one to message me saying, sending me photographs. That meme of the cat hanging there, kitty.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'll be you. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. We're on Twitter and Instagram at This Is Mappa. We've got a Facebook group page. We've got a Discord. Thassos is on Twitter at Flares Gafes. He also has a website, which is
gafesflares.com. Stella's written some stuff. I've written some stuff. The latest article we've got up there is about how crap Getsbaia is compared to other coaches for the Cypriot national team. So there you go. We've also, I'm also open to other people sending me some ideas. Feel free to send me a message if you've got an idea to write something. We'll talk it through and see if we can stick it on the website.
There you go. Get in contact with us, and we shall duly oblige, because we're always open for conversations.
Yes.
This
like,
is the
subscribe, comment, do all the stuff.
Yes, correct. Now, this is the penultimate show that we'll be doing together this year, because I'll be going away next Thursday. So I'll be doing the Wednesday night show with you. So yeah, I think we'll get the thank yous out the way next week. I'm not going to do it now because whatever. But it's been a good year, man. It's been a good year for this pod.
It's been Hollywood Bulls.
Hollywood Bulls, yeah, exactly.
Hollywood Bulls.
Blimey, you hit the net. You see, without you, I am nothing. Yes, we're also on the Hollywood Bulls network. So it's an interesting project that we're working on with Peter Redding. It's really good. So hopefully this time next year we'd have conquered Dubai.
Oh yeah,
we would have conquered it. I would love to go to Dubai and do a show with you. Can you imagine? Just going to one of them jazzy hotels, renting one of using the conference room.
Exactly.
Have a shisha in there as well.
Oh. Yeah, have that one Cypriot player that's that website was saying is trying to get a transfer out there as well. Get him on.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing stuff.
Anyway, so till next time, boys and girls.
Bye.